I never believed a piece of metal could change a life, least of all mine. Yet the night I stooped on the rain-slick pavement and slipped a stranger's wedding ring into my pocket, the city around me seemed to shift, as though the streets themselves had decided my path from that moment on. I was 18, invisible, and alone, but that ring glimmered like an invitation I couldn't refuse. I was born without a last name anyone cared to remember, raised in an orphanage that smelled of damp blankets and disinfectant. They called me Lynn because someone had scribbled it on the bassinet where I was left, just Lynn in faded purple ink. The city never really noticed me. I swept its floors, stocked its shelves, handed out flyers no one read. Each night I traced the same concrete maze back to a windowless room I rented by the week, whispering to the cracked ceiling that tomorrow would be kinder. That promise shattered the evening the sky shattered first, monsoon clouds bursting open, lightning slicing the skyline. I was hurrying across the bridge near Riverside Mall, jacket pulled over my head, when I saw it, a flash of gold spinning toward a storm drain. Instinct moved faster than thought. My fingers darted out, and the ring settled in my palm, heavy and warm as if it still carried its owner's pulse. I should have handed it to the lost and found desk. I should have tucked it onto a police report, dutiful orphan that I was. But the ring felt too alive, its tiny diamond catching every stray shard of light. Something in me whispered, "Keep it, just for tonight." So I did. Back in my room, I rolled it along my knuckles, watched lightning spark along its edge, imagined who had worn it last. The inscription inside read only initials, TM Heartsuit HN. And a date 3 months earlier. Someone's future had fallen through a crack in the sidewalk, and I was holding the proof. I slid it onto my thumb for safekeeping and drifted into uneasy dreams. The morning after, the city was washed clean, and I woke late for my shift at the hotel cafe. I hurried through the lobby, still fumbling with my apron ties, when security stopped me. 2 stern guards flanked a man in an ash-gray suit, his tie a meticulous shade darker, his posture too composed for the chaos around him. He lifted a photo, my photo, though I'd never seen it, snapped as I crouched on the bridge in the rain. "Miss Lynn," he said, voice coated in quiet authority, "you have something that belongs to Mr. Tran Min." My throat closed. The ring on my thumb felt suddenly radioactive. Before I could speak, he nodded to the guards. "Escort her upstairs." If I'd known the hotel's top floor had private elevators, I might have felt important instead of terrified. We emerged into a silent corridor lined with rare orchids and marble so polished it mirrored every faltering step. At the end stood double doors guarded by yet more men, each with the same discreet earpiece. One opened the door, the other ushered me inside. The suite was more palace than room, paneled in dark wood, curtained in silk, smelling faintly of sandalwood. A grand window framed the city like a living painting. And there, beside a mahogany desk, stood the man whose initials matched the ring, Tran Min. He was younger than I'd imagined, early 30s at most, but everything about him suggested inheritance, of wealth, of power, of expectation. He stared not at me but at the ring, glittering on my thumb. His gaze sliced through me like glass. "You picked it up last night," he said, no greeting. "That bridge has blind spots. You found one of the few angles my cameras missed." He waved off my stammered apology. "I don't care about theft. I care about timing." He stepped closer. "Did anyone else see you?" I shook my head. He exhaled as though I'd just saved him from drowning. "Good. Then you will return it. Now." Heat flared in my cheeks. "Of course," I whispered, tugging at the ring, but it caught on my knuckle, thin skin swelling from nerves. I twisted once, twice. It wouldn't budge. Panic bubbled. I can't." Tran Min's jaw tightened. He reached for my hand, his touch shockingly gentle. Our eyes met, his dark, mine wide. He tried to slide the ring himself, it stuck fast. Something flickered across his expression, annoyance, yes, but behind it, calculation. "Very well," he said at last. "If it won't come off, you'll keep wearing it. At least until the ceremony." I blinked. Ceremony? My wedding, he replied. It's tomorrow at noon. The floor dropped beneath me. I don't understand. I'm short a bride. I laughed, a brittle, disbelieving sound. You must be joking. I never joke about contracts. He tilted his head, studying my oversized uniform, my trembling hands. You need money. I need a placeholder. Marry me tomorrow, help me finalize a merger, and in 1 month you walk away with enough to rewrite your entire life. He spoke as if he was negotiating a catering menu, not a future. My pulse hammered. Say no, reason insisted. Say yes, desperation countered. Rent was overdue. My manager threatened cuts. The orphanage wrote monthly begging letters for donations I couldn't give. I don't even know you, I whispered. You know my terms. His voice softened just a fraction. No one else will get hurt, and you'll never be this invisible again. Thunder rumbled through the glass, though the storm had passed. I looked at the ring, its diamond catching the sunrise, and realized I'd crossed an invisible line the moment I picked it up. There was no going back to anonymity now. So I said the word that sealed my fate. All right. By nightfall the suite had become a vortex of tailors, stylists, and legal advisors. They whisked me into a dressing room where silk gowns draped like liquid moonlight. A seamstress measured me by eye alone, tutoring about my narrow shoulders. Meanwhile a lawyer recited clauses as though he were reading dinner specials: confidentiality, annulment timeline, penalties for disclosure. Each paragraph tightened like a corset. I signed, numb. They slid a second document beneath my pen, an insurance waiver against unforeseen emotional harm. My hand trembled, but the ink came out steady. When the lawyers left, a makeup artist tried to console me, saying I'd look like a princess. I wanted to scream I'd rather look like no one. At midnight, Tran Min returned, rolling his sleeves to reveal forearms taut with tension. He dismissed the entourage, leaving just the two of us in the gilded quiet. For a moment neither spoke. The city lights flickered across his face, carving shadows beneath his cheekbones. Why me? I asked finally. He poured 2 fingers of whiskey but handed me tea. Because you were there. He stared into the amber glass. Because everyone else wants something permanent. And you don't? He smiled without humor. I want 30 days of peace. After that, you'll be free. I wondered then who had walked away from him, who'd tossed that ring like an insult, and why his solution was entangling a stranger. But his eyes warned against questions. So I drank the tea, wondering if Cinderella had ever felt like the pumpkin. Dawn tiptoed in, pale and uncertain. In the bridal suite I stood before a mirror, unrecognizable. The gown, ivory silk, lace like frost, hugged every secret curve. My hair cascaded in dark waves, pearl pins sparkled like captured dew. Yet I felt like a child playing dress-up, waiting for the adults to laugh. A knock. Tran Min entered, already in a tailored tuxedo. He took a step, froze. I saw it then, a flicker of awe, quickly masked by business. He cleared his throat. The car's ready. We descended through private lifts, avoiding reporters buzzing in the lobby. Outside, a convoy of black sedans idled, engines purring. As the city blurred past the tinted windows, I rehearsed my role: smile, nod, speak only when spoken to. 30 days. No more. The ceremony took place in his family's ancestral hall, jade-tiled roof, crimson lanterns swaying like heartbeats. Guests packed the courtyard, CEOs, politicians, faces from magazine covers. I clutched the bouquet so tight petals bruised. When the officiant asked if I would take Tran Min for as long as this union shall be recognized, I felt my voice detach from my body. I do, it said. He slid a new ring beside the old, this one heavier, colder. Applause thundered. Cameras flashed. And somewhere deep inside, a door slammed shut. That night the suite felt smaller, the silence louder. Tran Min loosened his tie, poured 2 cups of tea, the only ritual we seemed to share. He didn't approach the bed, instead drawing a contract from his pocket. Clause 23, he said. Separate rooms. No marital obligations. Relief ward with an inexplicable sting. I signed again. You'll attend 3 events per week, he continued, smile on cue, speak well of our happiness. At month's end we'll file dissolution papers. My lawyer will transfer funds to the account we opened in your name. I nodded, but my voice surprised me. What if someone digs deeper? What if they find out? They won't, he said, though worry brushed his gaze. Unless you tell them. I thought of secrets stacked like cards, how one breath could topple them. I also thought of the orphanage roof leaking every monsoon, of children sleeping 2 to a cot. Money could mend that, mend me. I swallowed doubt. All right, I whispered. He hesitated, then brushed a loose curl behind my ear, an act so intimate my breath caught. Thank you, he said quietly, as though I were saving him, not the other way around. Then he left for the guest room, leaving the master bedroom, and the city's expectations, to me. Days blurred into a choreography of appearances. We attended gala lunches where crystal chandeliers rained gold light, charity auctions where bidders waved fortunes like handkerchiefs. I learned to glide on stiletto heels, to laugh at jokes I barely heard. Every smile felt like borrowed clothing, until one evening it cracked. We were stepping from the limousine into the Blossom Foundation's masquerade ball. I wore a silver mask, Tran Men's was obsidian, sharp as a crow's wing. Paparazzi flashes ignited the night. Through the cacophony I heard a whisper, that's her, the runaway fiancée. And realized headlines were accusing me of being the woman who threw his real ring away. Inside, amid swirling gowns and violin crescendos, I cornered him behind a pillar of white roses. They think I left you. He peered through candlelight, eyes unreadable. It's convenient. For who? For both of us. It gives us a history. I tasted bitterness. A history built on a lie. His voice hardened. All histories are. He pivoted back to the crowd. That night, lying awake, I slipped the ring off at last. The swelling had subsided, but instead of relief I felt sudden dread. Naked skin where gold had rested, a mark already fading. I set the ring on the bedside table, watched moonlight crawl across it. Somewhere beyond the glass, the city pulsed like a vast heart. I wondered how many stories were stitched together with threads of convenient deceit. Halfway through our 30-day pact, the merger that required our perfect couple facade hit turbulence. A rival conglomerate leaked rumors of Tran Men's unstable personal life. Board members fretted about emotional volatility and potential legitimacy issues. Suddenly my orphan background became an asset rather than a liability, proof he married for love, not alliance. Publicists released a glossy profile, From Orphan to Heiress, the love story of the century. Photos of me feeding stray cats outside the orphanage, holding Tran Men's hand beneath fairy lights, smiling up at him like a girl who believed in happily ever after. Most were staged, some were stolen from private moments. I felt my identity mutate in real time. That evening he found me on the balcony, the city a river of fire below. Wind tugged at my hair, I clutched the railing. They turned my life into a fairy tale, I said. And you hate fairy tales, he guessed. I hate caricatures. He leaned against the railing, sleeves rolled, tie discarded. For once the armor slipped. I thought success would make me untouchable, he murmured. Instead it made me glass. People can see straight through me, and they still throw stones. I looked at him, really looked, and saw a man trapped inside expectations forged long before I picked up his ring. An orphan and a magnate, both homeless in different ways. You're not glass, I said softly. You're just transparent. He laughed, the sound surprised out of him. And you, Lynn? I shrugged. I'm a mirror. I reflect whatever people want to see. His eyes held mine. What do you want to see? The question hung between us like unspoken music. I didn't answer, because I didn't know yet. But I felt the distance close, breath mingling with breath, and suddenly the separate rooms' claws felt like a wall we might one day climb. 1 week left. The merger's signing ceremony loomed, and with it, the termination of our compact. But something unnamed had shifted. He brought me coffee at dawn, wrote my name on the cup. I found him humming in the kitchen, sleeves dusted with flour, attempting pancakes shaped like hearts. They looked like abstract art, but I ate them anyway. We never spoke about what came after day 30. We didn't need to, the silence brimmed with possibilities and fears. On the eve of the signing, Tran Min's assistant burst into the suite, pale. "Sir, news outlets received anonymous photos of Ms. Lin's contract, the dissolution clause, bank transfers. They'll publish by morning." Ice spread through my veins. The world would know I was a hired bride, the orphan who sold vows for cash. Worse, Tran Min would be branded a fraud, jeopardizing everything he'd built. He dismissed the assistant, turned to me. No anger, only resignation. "It's over." I shook my head. "Not yet." And before doubt could root, I strode to the balcony where reporters gathered below, lenses pointed like rifles. My pulse roared, but I raised my voice over the city's hum. "I am Lin Tran," I declared, using the surname I'd never owned, "and I chose this marriage. Not for money or status, but because when fate drops a ring at your feet you pick it up, and when a man offers his name you don't let fear make your decisions." Flashes erupted. Questions flew. I answered none, retreating inside, heart battering my ribs. Tran Min stared, astonished. "You just gave them a better story," I replied, voice shaking. "A story no contract can erase." Morning. The signing ceremony glowed with polished brass and scented lilies. Executives congratulated Tran Min on securing not just a merger but a legend, the orphan bride who saved his empire. Stock prices surged before the ink dried. After the applause faded, he found me in a quiet corridor. "You didn't have to save me." I met his gaze. Maybe I was saving myself. We stood inches apart, the world buzzing behind closed doors. The contract lay in his hand, blank where signatures should dissolve our union. He offered me the pen. "1 month is over," he said. "Shall we finish this?" Behind his composed mask, hope flickered. In my chest, mirrors and glass stopped shattering. I remembered the storm bridge, the flash of gold, the first time our stories collided. I took the pen, and slipped it into my pocket. "Let's be late," I whispered. His smile, real, unguarded, bloomed like dawn breaking free of night. He laced his fingers through mine, ring cool against skin. Together we stepped into the hall, not as placeholders, but as something blurred and bewildering and real. And for the first time, I believed a piece of metal could change a life, because it had changed too.